What a week. My goodness. Got these campus protests breaking out around the country, including now here at KU, where they entered day 3 of the encampment. President Biden finally addressing it yesterday. But as Bill O'Reilly said in his outstanding morning edition of the Bill O'Reilly update, he thought that Boy George might be doing a better job at this point than President Biden. Good morning, Bill O'Reilly. Do you stand by that one a few hours after the fact?
Yeah, I'm trying to get Boy George over from London. He's not an easy guy to get a hold of because you don't know whether he's a boy or a girl on any given day. So there's lots of people you got to canvass. Look, my job is to be absurd when the situation is absurd, Mundo. I mean, I apply my analytic capabilities to hundreds of things and subjects and issues. But when it gets into the zone like we're seeing on the college campuses, and I didn't know that about KU, you have some kids who set up some compound there?
Yeah, they've got a little encampment going on. Yesterday they went to the chancellor's office and they were, chanting and yelling at him, divest from Israel, all that kind of stuff. So they're in day 3 now at KU.
Okay. Are they violating any of the college's rules?
Not yet. They were told they could not have the tents up the last 2 nights, so they've gone back to their comfortable dorm rooms. They've charged up their MacBook Pros, so nothing yet like that.
All right. So that's fine. As long as they stay within the guidelines of the university, I don't believe they should be sanctioned. You can scorn them and mock them. Mm-hmm. I'd love to get 3 or 4 of these people, and they'd never do it. In a little roundtable discussion where I quizzed them about the history of Israel, the history of the Palestinian people, how Hamas has gained control of Gaza, how they operate day to day. And when you ask specific questions like that, you're going to just get stares.
Yep.
Maybe 1 or 2 might know a little bit, but they don't really understand it. And I know that because I got 2 kids in college. And I'm quizzing them all the time, and my kids are smart. I mean, because they're attached to me, they're forced to pay attention to life and to their country. I don't force any ideology on them at all. My son is traditional, my daughter is liberal. But I'll make fun of my daughter if she can't back it up, which 80% of the time she can't. Okay,
I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation.
Yeah, but I keep it funny. I try to anyway. I don't think she thinks it's so funny, but my son gets a kick out of it because I'm not in business to indoctrinate anybody, even my own children. That's not what I do. I try to put forth a very sane point of view based on reality and facts. And that's why I'm the biggest selling nonfiction author in the world. Mm-hmm. And when I think about that, when I step back and think about that, it's the Twilight Zone. I keep looking around for Rod Serling that actually happened. But the reason it happened is because I make my books entertaining to read, and you learn stuff about the world that's true, not propaganda. So when I'm analyzing these protests, this story is going to end soon because these kids are going to go back to they're not there for the summer. The only thing that could make it worse is if Israel does do a full-fledged invasion in northern Gaza, which is possible. Mm-hmm. And Netanyahu's got to know if he does that everybody in the world, including Biden, will bail on him.
Yeah,
they'll be alone. Nobody, and I'm not saying that's right, by the way, because I understand the danger posed to Jewish people in Israel. But if he goes into Rafah, they'll be alone against the whole world.
What do you say, Bill O'Reilly on KCMO? Of course, he's doing his nightly show, BillO'Reilly.com. He's got his weekly hit on News Nation with Cuomo. That's outstanding television. The funding, I know you've done some research on this, more than what we've seen in most cable news outlets and news outlets for that matter. Where is some of the funding coming from? Because it does seem very carefully coordinated and well-funded with outside agitators.
Well, Peter Doocy, I think it was yesterday, it might have been the day before, might have been Wednesday, and thank God for Doocy. Probably the only White House reporter who asks questions that need to be asked. And I know him a little bit, but when I was at Fox, he was not, he was just starting. But boy, he impresses me. Mm-hmm. So Peter Doocy asked Karine Jean-Pierre, who is, and I'm saying this and I shouldn't say it, not mentally up to the job, not smart enough. I don't know if anybody could do it well, but she is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So Doocy says to her, is the Justice Department going to look into the outside funding of these protests? Fairly innocuous, simple question to grasp, and that's what the Justice Department should do. And she wouldn't answer it. I can't speak to that. Well, then get off the podium and bring in somebody who can. That would have been, and then, of course, they would have booted me out. But I wrote a column, The Treachery Behind the Protests. It's on BillO'Reilly.com. It's free. You don't have to be a premium member or anything like that. You can go there and you read it. Students for Justice for Palestine is the coordinator of all of the protests. That means they have a database of left-wing activists on almost every campus. People they know don't like America will come out and will do what they're instructed to do, whether it be a protest, whether it be rioting. They have this database. And most of the people are in New York City, which is why you saw Columbia and NYU get hammered. Mm-hmm. I don't think the database in Topeka is that big, all right? But this is the organization that does it. They are funded by two primary organizations, a Muslim group out of Michigan that takes overseas money and is brimming with cash, and a Westchester group that George Soros supports. They pump money into the Students for Justice for Palestine. And I name the groups in the column. And so they're flush with cash. They can buy tents. They can print signs. They can rent buses. They can transport people. And they can do it all quickly because of social media. That's how these things spring up. They're not organic like Vietnam. It's not even close to that. These are very, very slim part of the college campus. Most students don't care, don't know, and just want to go home for the summer. Okay?
Yeah.
This is maybe 3 or 4%, but that's enough when they cluster at UCLA and when they cluster in these places. And an interesting aside is you don't see this happening at Harvard right now. Remember, Harvard destroyed itself with the equity stuff.
Yeah.
But they're not allowing that in Cambridge now because they know their brand is so damaged up there that the Board of Trustees said no more. Harvard's got its own police department. And so these people can't gather. Some of them put up Palestinian flags. Boom, they tore them down. So you don't hear that anymore. And that shows you that colleges can be controlled. But these derelict college presidents, and I'm writing a column for this Sunday on them, okay? I mean, if you have leadership like that, then you're going to have chaos, public disorder. That's what you're going to have.
Yeah. Peter Doocy, you're right, doing great work. You're ahead of me. My wife's here at Villanova, and I don't think either of us are welcome back with open arms at this point. Bill O'Reilly.
Villanova is such a shocking disappointment. It really is. It is a shocking disappointment. At a once great Catholic university has descended into that. Mm-hmm. But even worse is mine, Marist College, Poughkeepsie, New York. And wait till you see, and I'm going to write about it. I'm going to show you exactly what's happening there. And that's what happens when the Board of Trustees hires presidents that are far left and want to impose their ideology.
Yeah,
they want to impose it.
What, Bill, you talk about higher education. What are the short-term and the long-term ramifications? Is that reckoning ever coming, or is this just going to continue on with the status quo, with these places running as they have been now for far too long?
It's like the media. It's the same thing. Critical mass has been reached. So the media destroyed itself by hiring 100% leftist people. If you turn on NBC, MSNBC, CNN, read the New York Times or the Washington Post, that's all you get. Because the people that do the hiring hire those people, and if you're traditional or conservative, you are not considered for a job. Okay? So the media can't come back from that unless they wipe out the whole structure at the top, which I don't see happening, because you can make money catering to leftists and the progressive movement. Not a lot of money, but you can make money. The same thing in academia. You would have to wipe out 60, 70% of the leadership in these major universities. However, not all of them are like that. My son goes to Salve Regina University in Newport, Rhode Island. It's a traditional school run by the Sisters of Mercy. There's no problem there. There's discipline on campus there. Hillsborough, we all know, in Michigan, and there are a whole bunch of southern schools, Texas A&M. I mean, look at the difference between Texas A&M and the University of Texas. It's all about leadership, and leadership should say to the students, we respect dissent. We want robust debate, but there are rules. And if you don't obey the rules for the good of the whole community, you're expelled. And that puts an end to it.
Yeah. Bill, what does all this mean? I'm looking at Donald Trump right now on the TV, giving pizza to New York City firefighters yesterday. Is he best off just letting this thing play out and staying out of it? What does all this mean for Donald Trump in the months ahead as he tries to get back into the White House against Joe Biden?
Well, this is hurting Biden. And it's hurting Biden because he's so weak. Once again, it takes him 13 days to put out a statement. 13 days? If you don't know that Joe Biden is a weak president by now, I can't help you. I can't. There's nothing I can do. All right, and we all know people like that.
Yep.
The word is hopeless. Okay, so once again, the president of the United States demonstrates weakness in front of the nation. That helps Trump because he's a strong man, and that's the description in politics. Trump is benefiting by the protests. His poll numbers are going up because people are starting to say, even though I don't like him, and Donald Trump makes no attempt to persuade independents and moderates to like him. I'll never figure that out. Even me, I make some attempt to have people like me. Not a lot, but some,
Yeah.
But he doesn't. If you don't like him, he hates you. No. If they don't like you, try to persuade them to like you.
Yep.
No, he doesn't do it. So he can't capitalize as much as he could if he took my approach of just be a little less intense out there. Show the people you're a human being. They know the comparison between your 4 years and Biden's 3.5 years.
So he's benefiting in a big way, and we are benefiting in a big way from getting the insights of Bill O'Reilly. Watch him every night as a premium member at BillO'Reilly.com. You hear him on the morning update in the 7 o'clock hour right here on KCMO Talk Radio. Bill, thank you for fitting us in during a very busy week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Have a great weekend.
Anytime, Pete, and you will be getting a galley, one of the first. Mundo gets one of the first looks at confronting the presidents. You'll get that by Memorial Day.
I can't wait. And it's coming out in what,
September?
September?
You're gonna like it.
September it's coming out?
September 10th.
All right. And I do see there's some new mugs on the site. I got to get Dad for Father's Day. It's right around the corner.
Not woke mugs on BillO'Reilly.com. Not woke. It's our fastest selling mug ever. It's unbelievable how many people are getting this.
So simple yet so effective. I love it, Bill. We'll talk to you before Father's Day for sure, but have a great weekend.
Thanks for having me in, Pete.
All right. Outstanding job as always by Bill O'Reilly on KCMO Talk Radio.